Wherever you sit in this house, you have a beautiful view of the garden. So what you want to do is make a project that people are very happy to live in here. When I design the houses, I need to build a garden. Here, the garden is natural. God has made the garden. Sometimes when you get leaf-eating monkeys rummaging through the trees, eating the leaves, you have this really close contact with nature, and the view is absolutely fabulous. It's like a painting.
Hello, my name is Alex Lee, and I am from Design Seeds. Some time ago, we featured an episode of the hidden garden house in Hulu Langat. In a short period of 8 months, that video is now touching 2.1 million views. Due to the immense demand, we were motivated to travel to the south to exploit another extraordinary home for your viewing pleasure. Before we begin, if you're not subscribed to our channel yet, do it now. Click on that subscribe button and turn on that notification buzzer to stay in the loop of more compelling design episodes. Today's episode on Design Seeds, we will be revealing this 3-story residence that is built on a steep slope that enters at the mid-level with a dramatic view that faces the south to the forested hill and west to the sunset. The culprit who choreographed this astonishing masterpiece is the same person who did the garden house. Inchlim, the celebrated Malaysian landscape designer who had the vision and idea of building this home at the parallel eye level with the trees. Let us present to you the floating treehouse.
Hello, my name is Inch. A long time ago, this was a huge rubber plantation, and it was disused. There's this beautiful stream that runs out of here. So I used to hang around here a lot.
This 3-story residence is built on a steep slope that was meant to be 2 plots of semi-detached property. The steeply sloping site is at the end of the cul-de-sac on the edge of the forest reserve.
When I first saw the site, I just thought, difficult. It's not an easy site. Difficult because of the steep slope. And it wasn't a big site. But because of this jungle, what happens is that you find that this site is a lot bigger psychologically than it actually was.
Hello, 我是酷。
我是 Len。
我喜欢这样的环境，这个就是树林保留区的，不会再发展的，除了空气了、风景了，那个是最主要。而且这个地点它又不是很偏僻，那就是接近市区。
开始我不喜欢，我好怕哦，你怎么到我来森林了？就慢慢的吸收到很好的空气，就慢慢的融入跟接受。
The moment you pass through this mystical Japanese upcycle portal doors, a 14 by 18 feet fish pond greets your arrival. With the calm waters and reflection of the architecture reflected on the surface of the pond, the interior of the heart of the property is ever-changing.
In all my projects, the outside is led in one way or another. And their water feature is fed from a natural stream. You're bringing the outside all the way in to the heart of the building. I always feel that there's no point having a pond unless you spend time there. If you have no seating areas, you're not likely to spend time at the pond. The idea of going low and then having the very high ceiling. That courtyard serves several purposes, but mainly to allow hot air to rise and dissipate. And the other one obviously is to allow light through. There is a louver that you can open and close. Sometimes when it's raining, it's very, very nice to open the louver and let the rain come in and fall into the pond, and you see this beautiful pattern created by the ripples on the water. Because I realized the importance of the indoor and outdoor aspect of tropical living, I always try and put a little bit of space outside that you can get out to from every room, wherever possible. Obviously, there are areas where it is not possible. In that particular case, because it's a car park, I realized I can make a garden outside of the daughter's room. She can have access to that garden.
我们都喜欢享受这间家，现在even早午晚都会在家里吃。
通常早餐我会在那边哦，晚上会在我们的厨房那边。吃了晚餐通常都会在这边看电视，喝点小酒。
下午的时候，其实你在小睡的时候哦，你就会听到鸟语的声音。好，你就听到水的流动，你就听到动物的叫声。
Walking towards the living area, a sweeping view of this high double volume ceiling and panoramic view of the dramatic scenery of the forest would put anyone in awe.
If you look at the building from the outside, you'll find that there's a gateway, and the gateway faces the entrance, that faces the foyer, that faces the pond, that faces, and so it's a progression of space. You're visually led from one space to another, to another, to another, to another.
基本上就是我们一家人就楼上放了3间房间，父母亲就放在我们的 main floor， 因为不需要爬楼梯嘛，对吗？以后也是我们住的房间吧。这边的楼下还有一个半楼。我们就把它做成guest room 跟karaoke room 跟 maid room。
唱 K 是因为在 ensure 的时间我们都没有东西做，然后他知道我喜欢唱 K， 他就看了，不错啊，这个房间可以拿来唱 K。
Many would be paranoid about the safety of such an open home, but the owner, Ku and Elaine, they were certainly thoughtful enough to plan ahead.
这边是玻璃门哦，这个可以关完了。那边没有玻璃门的是有2副 roller shutter， 还有跑alarm，还有养狗，这都是要放小街一定要的。
One of the most significant highlights that makes this property stand out would certainly be the striking pitch roof structure that's built in teak wood. The contrasting color gives a great touch of warmth to both the architecture and interior design.
I was looking for more of a traditional form in the roof construction. It works in the tropical setting because water is expelled very quickly from the roof, and also because heat gain in the roof space can be expelled. The roof is quite complex. Timber somehow makes the building feel warmer. And because it was a stone floor, I wanted to have a very light colored ceiling. On top of that fixed glass, I made a gap. And the gap has louver, so even when the doors are closed, there's always a place for the hot air to escape. If you walk into this room, you'll feel the double volume space, and you can look through the double volume space and realize the height of this hill and the height of the trees.
Sitting by the decking that is cocooned by the forest reserve, listening to the birds and crickets chirping, and sound of cockerel greeting the dawn, there is utter silence and time to reflect on the blessings of life.
The deck is obviously a main feature of this house. The tropical situation like we have here, it's always much better to have external seating areas so that internal spaces and external spaces flow into one. In this particular case, it was really good because this jungle produces very fresh air and very cool air. The client uses this place a lot. They entertain here, they sit here, they dine here, they spend a lot of time on this deck. This place is fairly mosquito-proof. In this particular instance, there's a stream, and the stream is a breeding ground for dragonflies, and dragonflies eat a lot of mosquitoes. So here is a natural setting where actually the predators are well and alive, and they hunt down the mosquitoes.
外面那个遗址嘛，就是油木，原本是平面的，就是我们把它刨滑，连一层砌上去。过了2-3年吧，我相信，我发现到有时候蚂蚁，尤其是下了雨过后，它们会成群上万的爬上这个遗址，好像盖掉它。事实上，它们在咬它的外皮了。人就这样子，给它咬一下，把那些原本的那些木纹呈现出来。那个是人工做不到的东西。我觉得这个是一个大自然的创作，而且我就觉得，颜色全部都跑出来的，不需要去油漆啊，玩得更好看。我觉得这个是一个上天给我们的礼物吧。我觉得这个大自然就是来的话，我们只可以避免了，在他们不在的时候，放点他们不喜欢的味道啦，好像或者进来，我觉得不是什么大事情啊。这原本他们不是喜欢，他们是因为要来找吃。只要你做一些防备，也不要说去杀害他们，这不需要的。其实跟野生动物一起相处是一个很好的事情了，就是还有野生动物可以生存的地方，才是人住的地方吧。
It's interesting how most houses are built to avoid the west-facing sun, and this house is designed to face the evening sun, and yet internally, the house is constantly feeling the forest's cool breeze.
所以以前我很担心夕照怎么办，我的整个客厅啊都被太阳晒住。过后我就发觉到，不错嘞，这样至少我家的湿气没有这样重。因为在早期我那间家湿气的味道比较重，这边偶尔晒一下，反而那些湿气没有掉。所以我就是太忙的时候，可能偶尔遮一下，因为它通常是2个钟头，连过后就没有了。反而觉得不错，又有夕阳看。
Unfortunately, sometimes you get the orientation of the house of the view which may run counter to the orientation to the sun. In this particular case, obviously 2 things take precedence. One is the view, and one is the orientation towards the forest, so that the cool breeze can always flow through the house. And that counteracts whatever solar gain that you might get. I think you can feel it right now that, the breeze it blows up the valley, it blows down from the hill.
The pride of this project has to be highlighted based on its honesty to materials. Majority of the windows and doors, and even the carpentry works, are handmade with solid teak wood.
一般上我就偏向自然的材料咯。第一个选择当然是木咯，就刚好碰到我一个朋友，他是专做油木家饰哦，所以变成我家的家具房间基本上都是用这些油木来做的，地板啊。那个门基本上是一个古董门来的， 都是那些在印尼的旧屋主拆下来，我就按照它的尺寸去设计出我要的门。
积善至诚，积善就是你做善事，至诚就是做成功，因为你做了善事，你才会成功。
Yeah, well, I designed this, and of course, I rather like it. I think it's quite beautiful. It's a screen that I wanted to build. I selected Burmese teak as the medium. I wanted a durable timber, because when you're outside, you need it to be durable. And teak, I like the color. Even when I was young, every time I thought of somebody clearing 1 acre of land, it would cause me pain, because you just imagine the number of insects and animals and birds that you're depriving of a home or depriving of, life even. It is very painful, because through my life, between I was young and now, things like the Sumatra rhinoceros have gone extinct. In my time, they were still roaming around in Johor. You could actually see them. But now, money is everything, and everything else is secondary. We are living in dangerous times, I would say.
住在大城市了，很少会有机会接触大自然，都是玩手机啦、电脑之类的。我觉得这个是一个很可惜的事情，因为人如果可以接触大自然、喜欢大自然，是免费的。我们可以从那大自然那边学习很多东西。
There is a feeling of contentment in this dramatic yet magical home, the feeling of renewal and inspiration. I was having a conversation with the owner, Ku, and something he said inspired me a lot. The floating benches overseeing the forest were often conquered by what seemed like carpenter ants, which is most likely to be a catastrophic nightmare for most people. And the immediate thought of most people would be how to get rid of them. But in Ku's words, he said, "This is the circle of life. The forest was theirs to begin with. We are sharing the habitat." And that phrase moved me. There was so much compassion we could learn from people like them. And this is one of the beauties of Design Seed, realizing life in the language and eyes of design and architecture. We thank you for supporting us throughout these years in bringing up the design scene and its value. We are constantly hunting high and low to unveil more and more compelling design episodes. We would be really thankful if all of you could extend your support by clicking on that join button and buy us a cup of coffee with a minimum amount starting from $2.50. Support us by clicking on that join membership button and help us contribute for us to expand our capacity. My name is Alex Lee, and I am from Design Seeds. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification buzzer to stay in the loop of more amazing interior design and architecture content. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
我要谢谢我老公酷跟 Inch， 为我和孩子们创造了这美丽美好的家庭。